Revenge films.
My name is Ariel, and I'm 20 years old. I'm a student at a community college. My sister Erin, who's a year younger than me, also goes to the same college. Although we're sisters, we couldn't be more different from one another. I didn't stand out, but Erin was the type to catch everyone's eye. Erin was beautiful and she could totally be a model, which is what made her very popular. Because of all the attention that she got growing up, Erin was very confident and thought highly of herself. Her TikTok account is pretty popular too. Erin had a reputation to live up to, so she hated being associated with me because we were so different. I was her uncool and unattractive sister. She didn't want to be seen with me, but I had reason to detest her as well. Anytime that I dated someone, Erin would steal him from me.
If you're dating him, it must mean that he's a decent person. I want him too.
Sorry, Ariel. I had no idea that you were Erin's sister. I love Erin, and I watch her TikTok videos all the time. She asked me out, and I don't have any reason to say no.
Why do you always steal my boyfriends? Do you know how much that hurts me?
I haven't done anything wrong. Your boyfriends find me more attractive than you. They can't help it. Maybe you should make more of an effort to be desirable like me. But to be honest, I'm not really into this guy. His face isn't my type. I don't think that I'll date him for too long, so maybe you can have him back after I dump him.
I hated living under the same roof as Erin. She made me feel terrible all the time. I decided to get a job at a Japanese restaurant and save up enough money to get my own place. After some time, I began dating a guy that I met at the restaurant. He also worked there and he was the one that taught me how to do my job. And for some reason, this was when Erin decided to show up at the restaurant as a customer. Unbelievable. What are you doing here? There are so many other restaurants that you could have gone to. I only want to see you when I have to.
It's a coincidence. My friend chose this place. I had nothing to do with this.
Do you know each other?
I never told my boyfriend that I had a younger sister. I didn't want him to meet Erin for good reasons. Although we went to the same college, I tried not to bump into Erin. I didn't want anything to do with her. I feared that if I was too close to her, she would end up taking the important people in my life away from me.
I'm sorry, but I'm in love with someone else. I can't be with you anymore.
Who is she?
Oh, hey Ariel. I didn't expect to see you here. Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's go.
Erin, how could you keep on doing this to me? Then Erin whispered something into my ear with a wicked smile.
I love being with a man that is rich. Thank you for introducing us, Ariel.
I was sick and tired of Erin ruining my life over and over again. Every time Erin stole my boyfriend from me, I would get depressed. And every time I asked myself what my sister had against me, or if I was a problem because I wasn't as attractive enough. Each time Erin did this to me, I would go crying to my best friend Karen, who went to a different college as me. Look, if your boyfriends choose Erin over you, it just isn't meant to be. You'll meet your dream man one day. Don't give up. You deserve to be happy. But each heartbreak was tough to get over. One day, Karen presented a great idea to me while we were at the cafe together. Do you remember Sean from high school? I do. He was the captain of the judo team, right? I remember him having very distinguishing eyes. Yes, he's the one. We go to the same college and he's really popular with all the girls. In high school, Sean was the captain of the judo team and he practiced hard every day. He shaved his head and only wore a school or PE uniform because he was so busy practicing and also because of the team's strict rules. Now that he was in college, he had more time to socialize and dress in the way that he wanted. He had grown his hair longer and he had an impeccable taste when it came to choosing his outfits. He was tall and good looking, so he ended up modeling while also going to college. His appearance may have changed, but inside, he was still the same person. He wasn't very friendly and he didn't know how to talk to girls, but the girls around him loved him anyway. Karen then told me something very surprising. Apparently, Sean was interested in meeting up with me. Why would he want to see me? Maybe in part due to the fact that I talk about you all the time. I'm one of the few girls that Sean can be himself around. We also take some of the same courses at college. He told me that he wants your phone number. Would it be okay for me to give it to him? After much persuasion from Karen, I decided to go on a casual date with Sean. As soon as I met him, Sean confessed that he had a crush on me in high school and asked me out. He told me that he had been too shy in high school to even talk to me, and he was really busy with judo practice, so he didn't have the time for a girlfriend. He also said that his feelings for me became stronger after high school graduation, when we no longer saw each other at school every day. I was touched that he cared about me so much and said yes to being his girlfriend. In that moment, I was very happy. After seeing him and getting to know him, I realized that Sean had a humorous side to him, and I had a lot of fun with him. We also both loved reading comic books and got along great. I had only been with him for a few months, but I was in love. But then, Erin must have sensed that I was happy like she always did, and she came back into my life to try to take my happiness away from me. As usual, she pretended that it was a coincidence that she bumped into Sean and I while we were out on a date.
Oh, hey, Ariel. What a coincidence that we end up at the same cafe. I guess sisters think alike.
What are you doing here?
Is this your boyfriend? Nice to meet you, Prince Charming. I'm Ariel's sister, Erin. I've definitely seen you in fashion magazines before. Your name is Sean, right? I'm a big fan. We all call you Prince Charming.
Yes, nice to meet you.
I'm a year younger than Ariel, and I'm not dating anyone right now. I have all the magazines that you've ever been featured in. I'm actually a pretty popular TikToker myself. Have you ever heard of me?
I see. Good for you.
We need to get going now. See you, Erin. I was terrified that Erin was going to take Sean away from me, and so I pulled Sean's hand and signaled for us to get going. But Erin wouldn't give up, and she followed us the entire time. Erin, stop following us! It's creepy! Sean realized that I was desperate to get away from Erin, and he hurried along with me. Erin didn't care that I was upset. She caught up with us and grabbed Sean's arm.
Sean, can I please get a hug? I'm a huge fan and it would mean the world to me. I tried to get in touch with you directly via Twitter so many times.
Twitter?
Erin, stop harassing Sean. You're making him feel uncomfortable. I was furious with Erin, not only for this time, but for all the other times. I was in love with Sean, and I wasn't going to let her take him away from me. I raised my hand in anger and was about to slap her hard in the face, but then Sean stopped me.
You just tried to hit me in the face? Don't you think that my sister's a monster?
Now that you think about it, I saw those direct messages that you sent me on Twitter.
Oh, really? That makes me so happy.
Erin pushed her body against Sean even closer. When I saw the two of them so close together, I began to give up my relationship with Sean. I can't believe that this keeps on happening to me. This really hurts. What had guys seen my sister anyway? She was a big tramp. But then again, they all chose her. It must be me. Tears were starting to well up in my eyes. Then, Sean said something unexpected.
I detest you. I hate that you gained your popularity on TikTok using your seductive charms. And get your hands off me, you slut!
Huh? What did you just say?
I saw the video that you sent me via direct messaging. You might as well have been topless. You're so vulgar. I don't understand what your viewers see in you. I think that porn stars have more class than you.
I understand the way that you feel. It's just business. That's not the real me.
I know that you're lying. I see through you. Don't pretend to be someone that you're not.
I'm not pretending anything. My love for you is real.
Can't you see that I'm dating your sister? Why would you do that to her?
Sean, something like this had never happened to me before, and I became so emotional that I began to cry. I was so happy that Sean told Erin to her face that I was his girlfriend.
Will you stop touching me? It's grossing me out!
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Erin was in shock because she had almost never been rejected by a man. Sean then wiped the tears on my face and gave me a hug.
I know that I'm not good with words, but my feelings for you are real. You can count on me, okay?
Okay. I couldn't stop crying. It was an emotional day for me.
You might be in love with Ariel now, but I'm not giving up.
Well, you should. I'd never fall for a girl like you.
I'm going to be even more successful as a TikToker, and then I'll get you to pay attention to me. You're going to regret choosing Ariel over me.
I plan on spending the rest of my life with Ariel, so at best, you're my pathetic sister-in-law.
Don't be so optimistic. I'm sure that you'll get sick of her soon.
Can't you see that all the men that ask you out are only after one thing? They just want to sleep with you. I bet you've never had a serious relationship. You're too scared to date anyone seriously out of fear that they'll realize how shallow you really are. I feel sorry for you.
Well, if you feel sorry for me, you should dump my sister and date me instead. At least give me your phone number.
I'd rather die than date you.
After that, Erin went away in tears. I guess she was really shocked that Sean chose me over her. On TikTok, she lied and wrote,
I was in a serious relationship with a fashion model, Sean, but then he dumped me. But I still love him and I'm not going to give up.
But then Sean's talent agency released a statement saying that what Erin said in her TikTok was nothing but lies. Because of this, many of Erin's viewers were upset with her and they no longer watched her videos. Also, many of her male fans were furious because they didn't like the idea of Erin being so in love with the man that wasn't them. People also found out that Erin was dating 5 different men simultaneously, and they all got revenge by posting naked photos of her onto the internet. My parents were concerned about Erin's behavior when they found out, and they forced her into a mental institution. In a way, Aaron was relieved to be out of the public eye and voluntarily stayed there for some time in order to recover. Sean and I continue to date seriously, and we look forward to a bright future together.
My name is Ted, and I'm a university student. My goal is to land a dream job at a big corporation. My girlfriend Sarah also goes to the same university, and we made it our thing to hang out at each other's houses after classes. We had plans to move in together after university graduation, and eventually get married. I wanted to support her after getting married, which is one of the reasons I wanted a successful career. Sarah was intelligent and funny, which were some of the things that I loved about her. But then something happened between us, which made me not love her so much. I was researching companies in preparation for my job search. I knew that I would need to focus on looking for a job and wouldn't be able to spend as much time with Sarah. One day, I received a phone call from her. Hey, Sarah.
I know that we were supposed to meet up today, but I've caught a cold. Rain check? I'm gonna rest at home today.
I hope you feel better soon. Get lots of rest and drink lots of water, okay? If you need anything, let me know. I can deliver whatever you need.
I'm okay. Thanks for offering, though.
I'll let you go now. Sarah seemed fine when I saw her on campus earlier, so I had my suspicions. But I told myself I was overreacting. But from that day forward, Sarah continued to make excuses as to why she couldn't spend any time with me. Sarah, where are you? We're supposed to meet today, remember?
There was a sudden death in my family, one of my relatives. I'm sorry, but I can't meet up today.
Oh, is everything all right?
Not really. Everyone is really sad and upset. No one expected this to happen so suddenly.
I'm sorry for your loss. I assumed that Sarah would be taking a few days off of university to attend her relative's funeral, and was surprised to see her back the following day. I went over to her and asked her why she was back so quickly. She told me that she didn't want to miss any of her classes. Her story wasn't adding up. Her relatives lived in the countryside, and getting there took several hours. So she couldn't have gone there, attended the funeral, and come back in time for her morning classes. It just didn't make any sense. I was now certain that she was lying to me, and wondered why she would lie to my face when it was obvious that she wasn't telling me the truth. And she continued to avoid hanging out with me, using lame excuses. I finally confronted her and asked her what was going on. Sarah? What's going on?
What do you mean?
I know that you've been avoiding me and lying to me. Are you mad at me for something?
I've just been busy. It has nothing to do with you.
Stop lying to me. First you get sick, then a relative dies. All of these things can't be happening to you. It's all too convenient.
Why would I lie to you? Don't you trust me?
I used to trust you, but not anymore.
Fine, but I'm not lying.
Okay, whatever. I knew that Sarah was hiding something from me, but it seemed pointless to continue this conversation with her. Not knowing what to do, I decided to confide in my best friend, Kevin. I asked Kevin out for some drinks and told him about how strange Sarah had been acting recently. I felt a lot better after talking to Kevin. I'm really annoyed with Sarah. She's been lying to me every day. I know that she's avoiding me. Why can't she be honest with me? I wouldn't like it if my girlfriend lied to me like that. You have every right to be frustrated. I wonder what she's hiding from me. I'll let you know if I find anything out. Thanks, Kevin. Sarah continued to lie to me and avoid me. I was starting to give up on our relationship. I was now spending more time with my friends and used my free time to study. I no longer cared about Sarah. I was prepared to break up with her. One day, I received a phone call from Kevin. Hey, Kevin. Okay. Ted, take a look at Sarah's Instagram page. Okay. It looks like Sarah accidentally posted a photo of herself out on a date with a guy that isn't you. Okay. Let me take a look. I accessed Sarah's Instagram page and saw photos of her and some dude looking very chummy. I don't think Sarah intended on posting these photos onto her public account. I took a screenshot of the photos before she had the chance to delete them. I never thought that Sarah was the type to cheat on her boyfriend. I was shocked, because she was someone that I had considered marrying. I knew that things between us were rocky, but I never expected this! I was no longer in love with Sarah, but I was still shocked and hurt by her actions. Once I got past the shock and hurt, I became angry. I decided that I would confront her at university today and let her know that I had seen those photos.
Hi, Ted.
How have you been? We haven't seen much of each other these days.
I'm okay. I just feel so much stuff is happening in my life right now. I'm sorry that I've been unavailable to you lately.
There's something that I want to show you.
What is it?
Could you explain these photos to me?
Where did you get them from?
I got them from your Instagram account. You must have posted these by mistake, but I took screenshots before you deleted them.
Why would you take screenshots of my private photos?
This was the only way that I could get you to stop lying to me. Don't act like the victim. Let's end this. I can't be with someone that I can't trust.
You're going to break up with me over one affair?
It's not just the affair. I'm sick of your lies and deceit.
Okay, fine then.
After I told Sarah that I was leaving her, she got upset and stormed off. I realized then that I had spent the last few years dating someone that wasn't a good fit for me. I'm glad I didn't end up marrying her. I wasn't too upset about our breakup. I knew that things between Sarah and I hadn't been working out for a while now, and I come to terms with it. Kevin also set up a double date to cheer me up. He also asked me out to drinks often, so that I wouldn't have time to think about my breakup. He was a great friend. In fact, I was happier than ever. Soon after that, I started interviewing with companies in search of a job. By then, I was too busy to even think about Sarah and had gotten over her. But then she called me out of the blue. It had been 3 months after our breakup. She told me that she wanted to speak to me in person about something, but I told her that I was too busy. But she was very persistent, and I finally gave in. We set up a time for us to meet at a cafe. When she finally arrived, I saw that she had put on some weight.
How have you been, Ted?
I'm fine, but busy. What is it that you need to tell me? Make it quick.
I thought that we have some time to catch up.
Well, I don't have time for that. Could you just get to the point?
Okay then. As you can see, I'm 3 months pregnant, and I think that the baby might be yours.
What the hell? I don't think that the baby is mine. It can't be. We hadn't seen each other for a few months before we broke up, remember?
But the baby still needs a father. Would you be willing to be its father?
I'm sure that the father is the guy that you cheated on me with.
Well, when I told him that I was pregnant,
Sarah told me that the man that she had an affair with was married and already had a son with his wife. The minute that Sarah's lover found out that she was pregnant, he stopped returning her calls. That's why she came to me and asked me to be the baby's father.
you're the only one that I could ask, and I know that you'd be a great parent. We were planning on getting married anyway, remember?
I would have wanted to marry you if you hadn't cheated on me, but I no longer have any feelings for you. Please, don't get in touch with me anymore. I've moved on.
What am I supposed to do? I can't raise this baby on my own.
I felt a little bad for Sarah, but this wasn't my problem to solve. Obviously, I said no to being the father of the baby. Sarah continued to text me persistently, so I ended up blocking her number. A month later, I was at university. I hadn't seen Sarah on campus for a while now, so I asked one of her friends if they had seen her. Her friend told me that once Sarah's parents found out about her pregnancy, they were livid, especially because the father of her baby was married to someone else. Her parents forced Sarah to quit university and return to the countryside to live with them. A few more months later, Sarah gave birth to her baby, but now that she lived in the countryside, I never saw or heard from her again. As for me, I graduated university and got the job of my dreams. 3 months after I started working, I met someone and we began to date. My new girlfriend was completely different from Sarah. She was more grown up and less self-centered. I put the past behind me and enjoyed my new life. Life doesn't always go according to plan, but I was happy with where I was at right now.
My name is Sarah, and I'm a student at a beauty training academy. I still live with my parents, so I've never had a place of my own. I'm about to graduate from the academy, and I'm currently looking for a job, so I've been pretty busy these days. My mother has worked her whole life ever since she had me, and right now she works part-time at a supermarket. My father was a chauvinist, and although my mother had a job at the supermarket, he didn't allow her to slack off on the household chores. Despite her efforts, my father was unappreciative and would often get mad at her for prioritizing her job over her household duties.
How was your day? I'll heat up your dinner now.
I'm not hungry.
Did you eat out tonight?
It doesn't matter. I'm not hungry. I'm tired and I'm going to bed.
Do you want me to run you a bath before going to bed then?
Just leave me alone. I'm not in the mood to talk.
I've always gotten along better with my mother, so whenever my father was unkind to her, it upset me greatly. My mother was busy too, but she always prepared home-cooked meals for my father and I. My mother also seemed upset that my father had barely spoken to her and locked himself in his bedroom. I hated that my father was so selfish. When he wasn't in the room, I told my mother how unhappy I was with him for his bad behavior toward her. Don't you think that his attitude toward you is getting even worse these days?
Yes, I suppose so. With age, he seems to be getting grumpier.
Isn't it stressful to live under the same roof as someone who is always so grumpy?
Don't be so hard on your father. He works really hard. He's probably tired from work.
But you work too. You don't take it out on us when you're tired.
Thank you for your concern, Sarah, but I'm fine. And I think that your father's bad moods are temporary.
Are you sure about that? But in fact, my father's moods worsened and he took it out on my mother. He didn't seem to want to be around us, and there were times when he didn't even come home. I wondered where he was and what he was doing. When my mother asked him why he only came home sometimes, he would get angry at her.
Where were you last night? I'd like for you to share your business trip schedules with me.
Why do I need to tell you everything? I'm an adult. I can take care of myself.
But I'm your wife. Family's supposed to communicate about these things to one another.
I don't want to see your wrinkled face every day. It brings me down.
How could you say that to me? You're being very hurtful.
I overheard my parents' conversation and I was not happy with what I heard. I couldn't help but say something to my father. Do you realize how unreasonable you're being right now? You need to apologize to Mom.
This has nothing to do with you. Stay out.
You're my parents and I have a say in this too.
Just leave me alone.
That night, my father didn't come home. It pained me to see my mother so upset. It didn't seem fair. I was furious with my father and I held onto the anger. And one day, I witnessed something terribly shocking. I was on my way home from a night of karaoke with some friends. I walked past an area of cheap motels and happened to see my father there. Beside him was a woman that I hadn't seen before. The woman was clearly younger than him. I took my smartphone out of my bag and took a photo of the two of them. I had the urge to hurry home and show the photo to my mother, but when I got home, my mother was preparing dinner for my father as usual. I couldn't show her the photo because I knew how much it hurt her. Now that I knew that my father was having an illicit affair, I had to figure out what I wanted to do with this piece of information. A few days passed and it was a weekend. I didn't expect my father to be home, so I was surprised when I saw him in the living room. Weekends were busy at the supermarket where my mother worked, so she wouldn't be home until late tonight, and I knew that she would come home exhausted. I decided to go out and buy her some dessert which she could enjoy after tonight's dinner. I was going to go buy the dessert a little before the time that my mother was expected to come home, but when I arrived at the confectionery store, there was a huge line outside and it took me longer than expected to make my purchases. I hurried home and saw that my mother had already come home from work. I wanted to be home before Mom. Oh well. I walked into the living room but didn't see either of my parents there, but I knew that they were both home because I saw their shoes by the entrance. As I was wondering where my parents were, I heard my mother scream. The noise was coming from the bathroom.
Please stop! Don't do this! You're hurting me! Somebody please help!
Mom, what's going on? Are you all right? I rushed into the bathroom and saw my father trying to drown my mother in the bathtub. What are you doing? Let go of her now!
When did you get home?
Sarah, please help me! I was having a relaxing bath when your father came in here and tried to drown me!
I couldn't believe what was happening, and I knew how frightened my mother was. She looked like she was going to throw up. Get away from her! In fact, I want you to leave this house. I shoved my father as hard as I could and rushed over to my mother. Let's get you out of the bath.
I don't know what would happen if you hadn't come home when you did.
Don't tell anyone about what happened here tonight. You'll regret it if you notify the police, for example. If I get arrested, I'll lose my job, and you and your mother won't be able to pay for your living expenses.
You're a monster! I had no idea that my father was capable of such atrocity. I stood there helpless when I heard our front door open. I was surprised to see two officers come into our bathroom. They told us that they happened to be in the neighborhood and overheard us arguing.
We heard some shouting. Are you all right?
I asked the officers to wait outside the bathroom while I helped my mother get dressed. When I tried to speak to the officers, my father gave me an evil glare.
We were just having a family argument. Nothing to be concerned about, but thank you for checking in on us. I was upset with my wife because she fell asleep in the tub and almost drowned.
One of the officers looked at my mother to confirm the facts, but then my father glanced at her, signaling for her to lie. And to my astonishment, my mother said,
My husband tried to drown me by forcing my head down into the tub. Please arrest him. He's a monster.
Why would you say such a thing? I was only trying to rescue you!
My mother's telling the truth. I came home and saw what my father was doing to her. He was trying to murder her.
Officers, they're both lying! Why are you trying to frame me for murder? Could you please come down to the station and answer a few questions? I can't believe that the two of you would betray me like this! This is unforgivable!
Then my father had a violent outburst and shoved down the police officer that tried to stop him. He then tried to attack my mother and I, but was stopped in time by the two officers.
I don't deserve to be arrested! I didn't do anything wrong! Shut up and get in the car!
My father did everything in his power to try to wriggle his way free, but it didn't work. But after hours of questioning, he finally gave up and admitted to committing the crime. And his motive was a really idiotic one. He wanted to spend the rest of his life with his young lover. How selfish of him. After my father was arrested, my mother and I went back to being happy. Mom, I didn't know how to tell you this, but I actually found about Dad's affair not too long ago.
Actually, I've known for a long time.
You did? How come you put up with him for so long then?
I wanted to gather enough evidence of his infidelity before filing for a divorce, but I had a hard time trying to find anything concrete.
Well, I have a photo of Dad and his lover in front of a motel if that helps. I showed my mother the photo that I'd saved in my smartphone. Using the photo they had taken of my father and his lover, my mother sued him and asked him to pay her a high alimony. My father was also charged for attempted murder. After his crimes were brought to light, he was fired from his job and his lover left him. Once he finished his prison sentence, my father disappeared to who knows where. I heard a rumor that he has nowhere to live and that he spends his time in parks. As for me, I was able to find a great job with a good pay. After what had happened to my mother, I decided to continue living with her. I thought that she would feel safer that way. My mother continues to work at the supermarket and is now enjoying her life as a single woman. My mother has been through a lot, so I want her to spend the rest of her life happy. My name is Karen, and I'm an ordinary person who works at a company. I recently got my own apartment, but since I wasn't accustomed to cooking for myself, I wasn't eating well, and that caused me to catch a cold. If I still lived at home with my parents, my mom would probably bring me some warm soup to my bedroom and take good care of me. I miss living with my parents. I called my mom to let her know that I was in bed sick. Hey, Mom, I got a cold and I can't get out of bed.
I bet you've been eating a lot of junk food since you started living on your own.
How did you know? All that junk food gave me a stomachache and I think that I have a fever.
I think you should go see a doctor and have some cold medicine prescribed.
Okay, I will. I hated going to the hospital, but I knew that my mother was right. If I wanted to get better, I needed to go see a doctor. I rarely go see a doctor, so I wasn't sure which hospital was the best one to go to. I searched for some nearby hospitals online and found one that accepted online reservations. Online reservations make things so easy. I got dressed and made my way to the hospital. The hospital was a private clinic which seemed to be new. I went inside and saw that many people were sitting in the waiting room. I was glad that I had already made a reservation. Hopefully, the wait shouldn't be too long. After a short time, a nurse called out my name and asked me to go into the examination room. As I got up and made my way to the examination room, someone pulled on my hair hard from behind me. Since I didn't expect for anything like that to happen, I fell onto the floor backwards. I had no idea what had happened to me. I looked around to see the face of the person who had pulled my hair. I saw that there was an old man standing behind me with a stern expression. I had no idea why this man was so angry with me and realized that he was the one that had pulled on my hair.
Can't you see that I was waiting here before you? Where are your manners? Wait your turn!
Actually, I reserved a spot online and the nurse just called my name. I'm not cutting lines.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I was here first, and my turn should come before yours.
I tried to explain what it meant to have an online reservation, but the man was stubborn and he didn't listen to me or calm down. Because he was making so much noise, the other patients at the clinic looked very uncomfortable. For some reason, the man was furious with me and he continued to yell.
You should follow the rules like everyone else. You have no right to be treated here if you can't wait your turn. Get out of here if you can't do that.
Could you please lower your voice? This is the hospital and we need you to be quiet.
You be quiet. This is between me and this woman. Leave us alone. If you're going to get involved, I'd like for you to ask this woman to leave. She has no manners.
As she just mentioned, she has a reservation and we just asked her to go to the examination room. She didn't break any rules. That's right. I have a reservation and I'm not breaking any rules.
Shut up! I don't want to hear your excuses!
The man's yelling frightened a child that was also in the waiting room and she began to cry out of fear.
Mommy, I'm scared!
It's okay, sweetie. I took a look at the little girl and saw that she was very pale. She must be pretty sick. I felt bad for her and decided to let her go before me. I told the child's mother that they could go see the doctor using my online reservation. But when the old man heard this, he was livid.
Not only did you not wait your turn like everyone else, but now you're letting other patients do the same? What is the matter with you? This is unforgivable!
The man was being ridiculous, but I was eager to get him to leave the hospital ASAP, so I decided to give him my spot. I told the man that he could use my spot to go see the doctor, but then the other patients started voicing their discontent.
I also have an online reservation. But does this mean that I have to wait some more? This isn't fair. It makes the online reservation useless in my opinion.
Haven't you heard of an online reservation before? It's common nowadays.
You should listen to what everyone is telling you and realize that you're the only one being unreasonable here.
You're the one with no manners who can't follow rules. If anything, you're the one that should leave the clinic.
Now that everyone was upset with him, the old man stopped yelling and became very quiet. But now all the other patients were irritated and the nurses working at the clinic had to calm everyone down. Just when I thought that this undesirable situation had passed, the old man started yelling again.
I can't believe that you would all bully me like this! You shouldn't take advantage of me because of my old age! What is the matter with this hospital? If I don't get the respect that I deserve, I'm going to call the police!
We were all speechless at the man's idiotic words, but then the doctor came out into the waiting room.
May I ask the next patient to come into the examination room, please?
Could you please take a look at this young girl first? She seemed to be very sick.
Thank you for offering your spot to her. Yes, I will take a look at her right away.
Thank you so much for your kindness. It's not a problem. As the girl and her mother made their way to the examination room, the old man pulled in my hair again. Ouch!
Why do you get to decide who gets to see the doctor? It was my turn! I've been waiting for a long time, you know!
But then the other patients stopped the old man from making a scene again. The girl was scared and she started crying again. Could you please stop harassing everyone? As soon as I said this, a man in a striped suit came up to us and handed us his business card.
I'm a lawyer, and I can help with the situation as needed.
His business card showed that he was indeed a lawyer and worked at a law firm nearby.
I don't need a lawyer. Do you realize that you're committing business interference? The hospital has the right to sue you if they wanted you. Sue me? This must be a joke. I was merely pointing out that this woman isn't following the rules of society as one should. This is no joke. Blaming someone based on reasons that aren't valid is considered a crime. Do you realize that you've stopped the operations of this clinic because of your unreasonable claims?
Now that a lawyer was involved, the man couldn't say anything to defend himself. He sat back down and waited for his turn quietly. But all the other patients knew what he had done and they gave him unfriendly stares. After a while, the man couldn't take the stares anymore and ended up leaving the clinic. We then heard a shrill scream from outside the clinic. When I rushed outside to see what had happened, I saw that the old man had tripped on his cane and hurt himself. Are you all right? The old man was okay, but he had thrown out his back and was in a lot of pain.
Do you need some help standing up? You'll need to get an orthopedic clinic for your injury.
Should we call an ambulance? Everyone was concerned and very cooperative now that the old man had been hurt. Touched by everyone's kindness, the old man was no longer angry and thanked everyone.
Thank you for helping me. I apologize for my rude behavior earlier.
We need to get you to another hospital.
Yes, thank you. And I'm sorry for picking a fight with you. Once I become irritated about something, it's difficult for me to hold back my anger. It seems that my old age has made me very stubborn. I hope that you'll accept my apology.
Yes, I will. The old man was taken to another hospital by ambulance. His injury was a minor one, and he would be as good as new after some rest. After the old man left the clinic, I got the doctor to see me and prescribe me some medicine. It turned out that I had some stomach inflammation. I guess it was all the junk food that I ate. The doctor and nurses thanked me for giving up my spot to the little girl. They told me that they would explain the rules of online reservations to clients who were not aware of the system so that a misunderstanding like the one today wouldn't happen anymore. As I got back to the waiting room, the mother and child were done paying and about to leave the clinic. Thank you for giving up your spot for my daughter. She feels much better now. I was very concerned because she had such a high fever, so I was relieved when the doctor was able to treat her quickly. I'm glad to be of help.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I hope that your head doesn't hurt after that grumpy old man pulled your hair.
I'm fine, and the man apologized to me, so I forgive him.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yes, all is good now. I was happy to see the little girl smiling again. She then gave me something from her pocket. Some candy?
Yes, this is for you.
Oh, wow, thank you. Thank you for your kindness. I'm glad that your daughter is feeling better. I was pleased with myself for doing something nice, and as I made my way home, my stomach was feeling okay. This incident was a small happening in my life, but it left a big impact on me. I was shocked and scared when that old man pulled my hair from behind me. In the end, he felt bad and apologized to me. I know that what he did was terrible and immature, but I decided to forgive him. I hope that the man regrets what he did and won't repeat the same mistake. I work at a small-sized firm that was only established several years ago. There are only 10 employees working at the firm. Because of this, we all had a heavy workload. My manager and colleagues worked day and night, but we didn't mind because we all loved our jobs. There was a great ambiance in the office. Our company president was in his 40s and decided to start his own business after working at a different company for over a decade. He always told us employees that we were like family to him. He was a very caring person and approachable as a boss. The sales of the company were on a gradual rise, and I was optimistic about the future of the company. This company is the only one that I've worked for since graduating university. I love my job and colleagues and look forward to coming to work every day. The only thing bad about our workplace was the ridiculously long work hours. When overworked, it was hard to stay motivated, so the company president would often award us with monthly bonus payments or a perfect attendance allowance. Up until now, I've been receiving the perfect attendance allowance on a regular basis. I was still young and vibrant, and the long hours didn't affect me too much, and the extra cash each month helped me stay motivated. I was one of the few women at the company, and there was one female colleague of mine, Karen, who came to this company after giving birth to her first child. Karen had joined the company 6 months prior to me, but we weren't very close because she pretty much kept to herself. Because Karen had a small child to take care of, she often had to leave the office early to pick up her daughter from daycare. She would also take time off of work frequently to take care of her sick child. So Karen hadn't received the perfect attendance allowance yet. On payday, she would always come up to me and say,
I'm never going to get the perfect attendance allowance. It's impossible when you have a young child to take care of. I envy the fact that you're single.
But the company president gave Karen child allowance, which was more money than the perfect attendance allowance that I got. The end of the year approached, and we were all looking forward to our year-end bonuses. The president's wife was in charge of the paychecks, and she would hand us our paycheck stubs in person each month. When it was my turn, I received the paycheck stub from the president's wife.
You've received the perfect attendance allowance each month, so I was surprised that you didn't get it this time. I hope that you're not being overworked. I know that we keep you very busy.
I was surprised to hear her say that because I hadn't taken any days off of work this month. I took a look at my paycheck stub and saw that it said that I had taken some days off of work and left work early several times. The president's wife then went over to Karen and handed the paycheck stub to her.
This is your first perfect attendance month. How exciting! Great job, Karen.
I knew for a fact that Karen didn't have perfect attendance this month. She took some days off and was late to work a couple of times. I couldn't believe that Karen had tricked the company into giving her the allowance. She was already receiving child allowance. It wasn't fair. It made me angry to see Karen so content. I knew that she had cheated to get this allowance. I went and checked Karen's time card from the previous month. I also compared it with mine. I now knew what she had done. She had used my time card when she was late to work or left work early. Karen's time card didn't have any recordings of days that she was late or left work early. Our company was old school in that it still used time cards, so it must have been easy for Karen to trick the company into thinking that she had perfect attendance. When the president's wife handed us our blank time cards to use each month, our names were handwritten on the time cards, so it would be easy for Karen to erase my name and replace it with hers. I couldn't believe that Karen would use such deception so that she could scam the company into paying her more money. Although I didn't know Karen that well, I was upset to find out that she was the type to cheat and lie. I told the president and his wife about what had happened. Because the president's wife rarely came to the office, she calculated the allowance payments based on the information written on the time cards. When I told her what I thought had happened, she believed me and apologized to me for the misunderstanding. But I didn't have enough evidence to get Karen to own up to what she had done. I could tell that the president had thoughts of his own regarding Karen. Because the company was rapidly growing from its inception, we didn't have a human resources department or other resources that other companies may have. It was more of a deal with each issue as they arise type of situation. That is why the president relied on each of his employees. When I first joined the company, it took me a while to learn the ropes, but now that I'm used to it, I love the freedom of making my own choices. I didn't have to be micromanaged. Up until now, I didn't even have any issue with the company recording our work hours using time cards. The president, his wife, and I agreed that we would need to come up with a plan to get Karen to confess about what she had done. The following month, the company continued to record its employees' working hours using time cards. This time, we would all be closely monitoring Karen's moves so that we could catch her red-handed. Karen was going to submit my time card as hers at the end of the month, so she continued to take days off of work when she needed to. She was also late to work and left work early on several occasions. At the end of the month, Karen came up to me and said,
I think that I might get the perfect attendance allowance for 2 months straight. If a working mother like me can get it, you should be able to get it too.
I don't think that you'll get the allowance this month. I'm pretty sure of it, actually.
What do you mean by that?
I know what you did with the time cards, Karen. You switched your time cards and rewrote the names so that you would have perfect attendance.
Why in the world would I do such a crazy thing? Don't accuse me of something that I didn't do.
I have evidence that you switched your time cards. I showed her one of the time cards. I realized that something was wrong the minute you received the perfect attendance allowance. I just need an extra month to gather the necessary evidence. I had the president's wife give me 2 time cards this month. Don't you think it's strange that one of my time cards is exactly the same as yours?
How dare you go behind my back like this?
You started this. You lied about having perfect attendance. I know that it's difficult to get this allowance when you have a young child waiting at home. That's why the president gives your child allowance instead. How greedy are you? You shouldn't be taking credit for other people's work. To that, Karen had nothing to say and she was asked to go into the president's office. The president and his wife had a long meeting with Karen to find out why she had done this. They found out that Karen had been stealing office supplies and also putting her personal expenses onto the sales accounts. I then remembered that before the president's wife had taken over the role of accounting for the company, Karen had been in charge. The president's wife was one of the company directors, and she only got involved in the day-to-day when it was absolutely necessary. When she was too busy with the management of the company, she had asked for Karen's assistance with the accounting. It was Karen's job back then to get all the receipts from the sale representatives and record them for accounting purposes. Since no one was checking her work, she filed some of her personal expenses as the company's. She had also taken some of the office supplies home with her. The reason for her stealing money and the office supplies was because she was stressed about the fact that she didn't have enough money to spend on herself. All of her salary was being used to pay for her child's expenses. We found out later that she had come up with the idea of switching time cards with me because she envied my life as a single person. I could see how raising a young child could be stressful at times, but there was no reason to steal or lie to others. What she did was a crime, and she needed to take responsibility for her actions. Once everything was out in the open, the company notified the police.
Please don't involve the police. I don't want my husband or his parents to find out about this. Please forgive me.
If it had only been the switching of the time cards, the company may have forgiven her, but she had also been stealing from the company. She couldn't be trusted and needed to be punished. Karen was arrested for her crimes and fired from her job. When her husband found out about all of this, he divorced her and took sole custody of their daughter. I found out later that Karen's parents paid back the money that Karen had stolen from the company. Karen was ordered by the court to pay her ex-husband alimony and pay for the damages caused to the company. She ended up taking on multiple jobs to pay back her debts. If only she hadn't been so greedy and selfish, none of this would have happened to her. After everyone found out the truth about Karen, the president gave me my perfect attendance allowance and an extra bonus for the inconvenience caused to me. It seemed that the president and his wife were worried that I might resign from the company after everything that Karen put me through. But I love my job and I don't intend on leaving anytime soon.
My name is Rachel. I live at home with my parents, and I'm a 24-year-old office employee. I have a boyfriend that I started dating about 2 years ago, and recently we got engaged. My fiancé Steven is my childhood friend who lived next door, and we grew up together. My parents were thrilled when we told them about our engagement, and I am on cloud 9 right now. My brother, who was 4 years younger than me, used to live with us too. But after a certain incident, he has been disowned by the family. The incident was an extremely traumatic and terrifying experience for me, and to this day, it is seared into my memory. My little brother Kevin always seemed to have a double personality. At any time he would get in trouble with my parents, he would blame me and often run away by himself. Ever since we were kids, I had a hard time trusting my brother. As we grew older, it only got worse. Towards the end of elementary school, Kevin started stealing money from my wallet. Wait, there's money missing again! Hey, Kevin! What's wrong? Kevin stole my money again! Mom, you have to say something to him! Again? Kevin! Hey, come here right now!
What do you want?
You stole money out of your sister's wallet, didn't you?
I don't know. I'm going out to play.
Oh, come back here! Be honest! You stole money the other day to buy yourself an action figure!
Isn't that better than stealing from the store?
That's not the issue. You need to give your sister back her money.
Like I said, I don't know about it. You don't even have proof, and you're blaming your family? You're all the worst! I'm going to tell everyone!
Kevin, come back here! Even if he did something wrong, my little brother would never admit it, nor would he ever apologize or show any sign of regret. when he was in middle school and I was in high school, he put a hidden camera in my room and tried to make money out of the footage that he secretly took. My family found out, and it became a huge issue. I was so shocked that I couldn't stay in my own home. So we decided that I would stay at my next door neighbor and childhood friend Steven's house. My parents were furious with my little brother, and for a while they banned him from going out, and they also confiscated his cell phone. Even then, Kevin didn't give up, and after my parents went to sleep, he edited the footage he got of me on the computer. However, my dad found out about this too, and gave Kevin a handful. And despite all this, he never once apologized to me, and instead, as usual, tried to blame it on me. It goes without saying that my little brother became even more of a menace and pain to our family after that. Then one day, when he became a high schooler, the incident finally occurred. Around that time, I just started my first job, and with the stress and exhaustion from this new life, I broke out in a high fever and was laying in bed for a few days straight. I had to take some days off work and stayed in bed, but my fever wouldn't go down, and both of my parents were very worried about me. As I was suffering in my bed, I noticed that the door to my bedroom quietly opened. Who is it? Through the small crack in the door, I could see my little brother's face. Do you need something? I'm not feeling well, so please don't come in. As I said that, it looked like my little brother was smiling, and an uneasy feeling came over me. The next day, my parents both went off to work, so I was lying in bed at home alone. Even in the afternoon, my fever was still high, so I took some medicine and tried to get it back to sleep. Suddenly, I heard the sound of the front door opening. I thought it was strange since it wasn't a normal time for anyone to come home, but I heard Kevin's voice. He must have brought a few friends over because I heard multiple male voices. Just as I was thinking how typical it was for Kevin to have friends over when his family was sick, the door to my bedroom swung open. In my hazy consciousness, I looked over at the door and saw my brother and his two friends standing there with big smirks across their faces. What do you want? Get out!
He was right! She's knocked out! She has no energy. This is our chance! You see? You can take her now, but you need to pay the money up front. Here, $200. It's a little expensive, but oh well. Don't say it's a little expensive. You're talking about my sister here. What do you think this is? We should be saying that to you! Selling your own sister like that? What are you thinking? Really makes us question your humanity.
I could hear every word, and I felt the blood draining from my face, even if it was my little brother. I never could have thought he would do something this bad, and I was so shocked that I couldn't even get the words out.
I'll take a video, but if you want the footage, then you have to pay extra. Well then, I guess I'll go first.
As he said that, Kevin's friends ripped the blanket off the bed and strongly pinned my arms down. Hey, stop that! Let me go!
I'm holding her down, so hurry up and take her clothes off. Yes, sir!
Stop it! Stop it! Help me! I desperately called out for help, but nobody else was home, and there shouldn't have been anyone else around who could rescue me. All I could do was try to resist them in my weakened state.
Nice. You should hate this more. Apparently, there are a lot of guys who are into situations like this, so this video will sell for a high price.
What are you doing? This is too awful!
Why not? You're just showing a little skin for your sweet little brother. Just do it. I need money, you know. And it's not like you're losing anything, so why not?
I couldn't believe that this was my brother. My brother that was born to the same parents. I felt defeated by desperation and disgust and fear. Just as I was about to give up on fighting them off, I heard the doorbell ring. I squeezed out every last bit of energy I had to yell out for help. Somebody, help me!
Damn it! Who the hell is it at this time? Hey, what's going on? Don't worry, don't worry. Come on, keep going. Wait, if that's someone from your family, isn't that bad? If it's family, then they would have a key and would have come in already. Aren't they coming here? This isn't looking good! There's no way. Who would have called the police? I just got out of probation. I don't want to get arrested again. Do something about this, Kevin! This was all your idea, Kevin! We didn't do anything wrong!
A few seconds after my brother and his friends were discussing what to do, we heard the sound of police sirens. As the three of them were going into a panic, I saw my opportunity and mustered up the strength to jump out of the bed and run towards the front door. When I unlocked the door and it opened, a policeman and Stephen were standing there. Stephen looked like he might burst into the tears at any moment as I crumpled into his arms and he held me.
Are you okay? I heard screaming coming from your room, so I called the police. Are you hurt?
I was crying so hard I couldn't speak, but Stephen just held me and kindly comforted me. The police then raided into my room, and the video that my brother was recording became solid evidence. My brother and his friends were arrested by the police and all sent off to juvenile detention center. I was a stone's throw away from any real harm being done and was physically fine, but it doesn't change the fear that I encountered. My parents were livid, and they promised to never let my brother into the house ever again. I kicked him out. My brother and his friends who attacked me were all expelled from the high school and were sentenced to juvenile detention center for a while. According to the police investigation, my brother wanted money, so he devised a plan and convinced his friends to attack me in exchange for a fee. He admitted to this himself. My brother didn't get to enjoy the rest of his high school life and instead spent it in the juvenile detention center. Once he was released, he was shunned by his family and had no choice but to survive on his own. Apparently, he found a part-time job that also had dorms to live in, but he called out of work or didn't show up too many times and was fired soon after. Without a place to live, he tried to get in touch with my parents again. However, my parents told him that they disowned him a long time ago and to shut him out. I later heard a rumor that Kevin was repeatedly caught for robbery and blackmailing among other problematic actions, and as soon as he became a legal adult, he caused an accident involving an injury and was arrested. He's supposedly in jail right now. Ever since my brother left the house, our family returned to normal and finally had some peace. And after that one incident, I started dating Stephen. If Stephen hadn't saved my life that day, there's no doubt that I would have had been scarred for the rest of my life. When I think about it that way, I can never thank Stephen enough. And so, 2 years after we started dating, we were engaged, and soon after that, we got married. Our friends and even some of our teachers from school were attending our wedding, and it was a pretty big party. After living as next-door neighbors our entire lives, once we got married, we both left our parents' home and decided to rent an apartment together. What happened that day is a painful memory, but I also recognize that my feelings towards Stephen blossomed after he saved me that day. With him by my side, I'm looking forward to a bright future as a married couple, taking care of each other as family for the rest of our lives.
One day, my friend Melanie and I went to a high-end restaurant, all-you-can-eat barbecue restaurant. Everything looks so delicious, and it's an all-you-can-eat plan, so we can get to order whatever we want.
I know! What do you want to order first? I'm starving.
The place we reserved was not cheap, but Melanie and I were excited to try out the many dishes they offered. We were determined to make the most of this experience.
Welcome to the restaurant!
We were surprised to see what he had brought over to our table.
We ask all of our customers to eat this dish before they order anything else.
He brought over a large plate of raw vegetables, which we were supposed to cook using the grill at our table. I thought that we were able to order anything we wanted from the menu.
Yes, you can. But first, we ask that you eat this dish of vegetables. It's kind of like an appetizer. You see, we wrote that on the menu as well. It's one of the rules here.
Oh, I wish you had let us know when we made the reservation. The man was in line, but the part about the appetizer was written in a very small font on the menu. You wouldn't notice it unless you were looking for it. This barely stands out. The rule is not a fair one if we weren't told about it when we made the reservation.
But this is our rule, and we need you to follow it like everyone else. We will not be able to accept any orders until you finish eating the plate of vegetables.
He then left our table. The plate of vegetables include cabbage, pumpkin, onions, green peppers, and mushrooms. We had already paid for a meal, so if we didn't finish this plate of vegetables, we wouldn't be able to try any of the meat that we were both so looking forward to. Melanie and I began to eat the vegetables, but they weren't very good, which was upsetting.
How long is it going to take us to eat all these vegetables?
I know, there's so much, but we won't get to try any of the meat if we don't finish this. By the time that we had finished eating the vegetables, Melanie and I were already half full. In the end, we were only able to eat one dish of meat each, which wasn't worth the price that we paid for our meals.
I'm upset that we didn't get to try the other meat dishes.
Same here. I'm tempted to order another dish, but I'm too full. I can't believe that we each paid $40 for this meal. What a ripoff.
I totally agree.
We feel that it's unreasonable and unfair that you asked us to eat a huge plate of vegetables before ordering any meat. We were only able to try one dish each, which doesn't make this an all-you-can-eat plan at all.
But this is our rule. We can't give you special treatment. It wouldn't be fair to our other customers. If you don't intend on ordering anything else, I suggest that you leave so that we can accommodate another customer.
Melanie and I were basically forced to leave the restaurant. We weren't happy at all with our experience. When I got home, I told my other brother about what had happened.
Really? I've been there before, but they didn't have that rule when I was there. I was actually really satisfied with their services. I got to eat a lot of high-quality meat, and I got my money's worth.
I can't believe how different our experiences are.
And when I was there, the restaurant owner was very nice to me. I didn't have any issues with the quality of their services.
I knew that my brother wasn't lying about his experience, so I was shocked to hear how different his experience was from me and Melanie's. I asked around to see if any of my friends had dined at the restaurant. I found a few friends who had, and they all experienced the same thing as Melanie and I. When I told my brother about this, he promised me that he would help me look into this. After some research, we found out that the owner had fallen ill and a new manager was now running the restaurant on his behalf. I now understood why things had been so different for my brother. I was also surprised to know that we had been dealing with the new manager, not one of the wait staff.
You were unlucky that you went to that restaurant after they got a new manager. I have an idea. Let's go back to the restaurant with Melanie again. I'm coming with you guys this time.
I don't want to eat that big plate of vegetables again. It wasn't very good. I feel like it would be a waste of money for us to go back there. We wouldn't get our money's worth.
You have nothing to worry about. Trust me. And I'll pay for you and Melanie's dinner.
So you're treating us to dinner? That's so cool of you. I'll ask Melanie if she's available. I made a reservation at the barbecue restaurant again. This time, it was the four of us, my brother, his friend John, Melanie, and I. As soon as we got to the restaurant, the manager came up to us with an evil smile.
Welcome. Let me show you to your table.
Thank you.
My brother prepaid for our dinners. As we sat down at our table, the manager brought over a huge plate of vegetables. It was twice the size of last time. Melanie and I weren't looking forward to eating all those vegetables again.
Please enjoy these fresh vegetables. This is on the house.
I don't know if we can get through all these vegetables.
Don't worry about it. John will eat all the vegetables for us.
Melanie and I were relieved to know that we didn't have to eat the vegetables.
John, can I leave it to you?
Sure thing. I'm starving.
John was a fast eater and he voraciously ate the vegetables. Melanie and I were amazed to see his big appetite. In a matter of minutes, John had eaten all the vegetables.
Wow, that was fast.
Okay, let's order some meat now. Could you please take our order?
The manager assumed that we would be full from the vegetables, but he was wrong. He came over to us with a smile, but when he saw the empty plate, he seemed astonished.
We've finished eating all the vegetables, so now we'd like to try each meat dish on the menu.
What did you do with all those vegetables? Did you hide them somewhere?
Why would we go to the trouble of hiding them? We ate all of the vegetables. Besides, there's no place to hide them. You believe us, don't you?
I guess.
Now please, bring us our orders. We're starving and want to try everything on the menu.
The manager couldn't believe it. He knew that if we ordered everything on the menu, it would be our win and his loss.
Please, hurry.
Actually, some of the meat that you just ordered is out of stock. I'm sorry about this.
What? How can that be? This is an all-you-can-eat restaurant, right? Besides, I don't see anyone here eating any meat. You can't possibly be out of stock already.
Well,
As this conversation was taking place, an old man entered the restaurant and the manager seemed very surprised to see him.
What are you doing here? Are you feeling better?
My grandson got in touch with me and told me what you were doing.
Your grandson?
Yes, John here is the owner's grandson. When I told him what was happening at the restaurant, he agreed to come here with us to check for himself. John loves to eat, and he's a popular YouTuber that posts videos about food.
A YouTuber?
I did a little digging myself and found out that you were forcing the customers to eat lots of cheap vegetables before you allowed them to order any meat. You only stock a little bit of meat at the restaurant and use the leftover money for yourself. This is a crime. I've already called the police.
You what?
You need to go down to the police station and explain yourself. I no longer trust you to manage the restaurant. You're fired.
Please don't do this. I really need this job.
The police had already arrived and they were waiting in front of the restaurant. The police officers waiting outside the restaurant escorted the manager down to the police station. After the manager left, the owner apologized to us profusely. He told us that the next time that we came to the restaurant, he would make it up to us. It was decided that John would take over the restaurant until they found a new manager. A week or so later, we were back at the restaurant again.
I've stocked the restaurant with a lot of good meat tonight, so eat your hearts out.
This all looks so amazing. My mouth is watering just looking at the meat.
I love the meat here. So tasty.
We weren't the only victims of that dreadful restaurant manager. The owner decided to invite all the customers that fell victim to that manager back to the restaurant for a free meal. Now that the reputation of the restaurant had been fixed, it went back to being a trendy and popular dining spot. Now that John is the manager, people are bound to come eat here. Everything is so delicious. I now understand why you're such a big fan of the food here.
I totally agree. I'm definitely coming back here again. And I'm going to recommend this place to my other friends too.
Right? This place is amazing.
With the approval from his grandfather, John plans a lot of events at the restaurant and posts about it onto his YouTube channel. Because of this, the restaurant has recently attracted a lot of new customers. The dreadful restaurant manager was arrested for fraud and he was ordered to pay back the owner for the damages that he caused. No one wanted to be associated with him anymore. The former manager had planned to run away after he made enough money from his fraudulent actions. But in the end, he got caught and ended up owing much more money than he stole. This is punishment for him deceiving everyone and not providing the services that were promised.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.